Hello everybody, welcome back. Wait until you see what we're getting into today. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. We're going to try to replace some fuel injectors in this truck. I've already started on part of this. I took the battery out, all the rest of the junk, took the inner fender well out. This is a very poor design. You got to dismantle half the truck to even get to the injectors. The ones on the driver's side aren't as bad, but they got everything so poked in here so tight on this side. Right now, I'm working on getting that turbo taken off there. You got to take the turbo out, take a bunch of other stuff off back there just to get to the injectors. So I did some of this other part, like taking the fender well out and all that. I did all that because there's really not much action there. Pretty boring to watch. But okay. So in order to get the turbo out, get a light here. You got 4 bolts, one, another one back there. 2 more up in here. And then you got to take this clamp off. You have to take that oil line off. I've already got the wastegate disconnected. There's an oil line that goes up in here, which I've already got that taken off. So as soon as I get that turbo taken off, we'll come back and I'll show you the next step. All right, we're back. Took me about 3 hours to get everything off there. Everything was rusted up pretty good. It wasn't rusted up pretty, it was rusted up really good. Only had one nut that I had to struggle with. I had to do some pretty serious work on it. I've been taking my time so as not to break anything. That way I don't have to spend a lot of time later on repairing stuff that got broke. I went ahead and soaked the fuel injectors down in the lines with some Croil. I used to use that all the time. It was out of PB Blaster, so I got that Croil. That Croil's pretty good stuff. But I went ahead and there's an injector and there's one. They're not in bad shape. I got to looking a little bit ago. The one back there on that side, back over there, I think it may have already been replaced at some point in time. But I'm gonna go ahead and replace all 8 of them. I'm in here. They're not that expensive. So I'm just gonna go ahead and replace things as I go. The other thing that I noticed is this deal that goes on this ventilation thing right here. I'm going to have to get it replaced. It doesn't look like it's working right. Turbo looks pretty good. It's not loose or anything. I am concerned a little bit because of the oil. But this little deal that goes on top of this, the valve cover there for the crankcase vent, it's all full of oil too, and it comes in to the air intake right in front of this. So if it was letting oil bypass, which I'm sure it was just sucking it right through there. The inside of that tube right there doesn't look bad. It's a little oily, but it doesn't look bad. So I think if I replace that, I think that crankcase vent, I think it'll take care of that problem. So it's getting late in the day today. I got to be over at the museum tomorrow. Sunday, I don't know if I'll be able to come back out and work on this or not. I'll just have to wait and see. It'll probably be Monday before I get back to it. So we'll come back on Monday and pick this project up and see how far we get. See you then. All right, everybody, I'm back. I just went inside after recording that last clip and was sitting in there. I thought, well, I'm going to look through and see what I've recorded. And it dawned on me that I guess I didn't really explain why I was taking the time to replace the injectors. I've got a couple different issues going on. The first issue that I got going on is the rough idle. If I hook the scanner up to the computer inside there, it tells me that I have a cylinder imbalance on 4 cylinders. It's really kind of intermittent. But I'm hoping by replacing the injectors that takes care of that problem. When I pull the injectors out of it, I am going to go ahead and run a compression test on it just to double check, make sure we do have a good block to start with. The second issue that I've got going on is I'm getting diesel fuel down into the engine oil. I know there's other things that can cause that, like the seals on the injector pump leaking, but I've got the other issue going on with the rough idle and the cylinder imbalance. So I just decided I was going to go ahead and start with the injectors and see if that takes care of the problem. I'm sitting here looking over at it, thinking other things. The other issue, when I serviced that truck, or when I first got the truck, I went through and I serviced it and changed all the fluids in it, and it's now over full. And the diesel fuel in there is thinning the oil mix down, which would also kind of partially explain why I'm maybe getting some oil up through the breather tube that comes out of the top of the valve cover. The truck itself doesn't have any blow-by. If you pull the filler neck, the lid off the filler neck and stuff, it doesn't have any blow-by, but the oil is getting thin in it because it's getting the diesel fuel down in there. So that's why I'm taking the time to change all the injectors. I'm hoping maybe this solves 2 problems at the same time. Anyway, that'll be either Sunday or Monday, so we'll see you all then. All right, everybody, we're back at it today. Been sick the last couple days. I haven't really felt like doing much, so today's Wednesday. But we're back in it today. Today, I'm going to take the injectors out. Right down here. I'm going to take all the injectors out and see if I got time left to do a compression test. So I got to get the injector lines off of it and all the return fuel lines off of it. And I'm still not feeling all that great, so let's see how far we get. All right, we're back. Took about an hour and a half. Got all the injector lines off, got the injectors out, got the fuel return lines off. When I put the new injectors in, see those little fuel lines right there. There's ones between every injector. There's some more over here for this side. And then there's a little cap that goes back on number 8. Another cap over here that goes on number 7 at the end of the fuel lines. We got them all out. Next step's going to be, I'm going to try to run a compression test on here since I've got it all apart. And when I put the new injectors in there, I'm going to replace all the little fuel lines with new little rubber fuel lines and clamps, and put her all back together, and we'll see what we get. The one thing that I did notice on this as I was taking it apart was every fuel line that I took off of there, I didn't get a single drop of diesel fuel out of it. Now maybe somebody can tell me or write it down in the comments. All these rails, all these fuel lines, they're not rails. All these fuel injector lines all run uphill and go uphill to the injector pump over there. So that means these should all be sitting full of diesel fuel, but they weren't. And same as for the other side. So maybe somebody can tell me, write it down there in the comments. I sent a message to Bob and I asked him, is that where the diesel fuel in my oil's coming from? Is it just leaking through the injectors, sitting on the pistons, leaking by the rings, going straight into transfer in the crankcase? I don't know. So leave me a comment down there if you have any thoughts on that. So I'm gonna get my compression tester out, start running some compression tests. All right, here's what happened. I went and got my compression test set down off the shelf over there, and I didn't have a fitting big enough to fit. So I'm going to go with the assumption, and I know you should never assume, but I'm going to make an educated gut choice here. I'm not getting any blue smoke. I don't have any blow-by coming out of the oil fill tube or anywhere else. The truck starts fairly easy, so I'm going to assume that the compression's okay on it. So what I did is I've started going through and putting all the injectors back in. See one right there. I've got all of them in except for the very back one back there. I'm wore out. It's getting late in the day. Temperature's dropping. So I'm going to stop working on this for tonight. Come back out tomorrow. I got 3 60-degree days here in front of me. And I've been kind of sick, so I'm going to go in, take a break, come out, resume this project tomorrow. One of the things that I kind of wanted to show you guys before I take off, I bought this socket right here. See if I can get focused on it. This is a snap-on socket. I don't know if it'll focus on the numbers or not. It's an S6128. It's a 30mm socket from Snap-on. It is designed for these fuel injectors. It's a 30mm. Got a 22mm top up here. It is specifically designed to take the fuel injectors out of a 6.5, 6.2, There's a little ridge down inside right here. I don't know if you guys can see it. But it is specifically designed. Let me get a place where I can sit you guys down here. It is specifically designed for these injectors. Actually, they go in this way. It makes getting the injectors out, especially the ones in number 7 and number 8, it makes getting them out a whole lot easier. There's not enough room down on each side to get a socket with a ratchet on there. So you can put that on there, use your 22 millimeter to pull it off there. It works very good for that. The other thing I wanted to show you, if I can find it. I don't know why. There it is over here. The other thing I wanted to show you is this tool right here. This is designed for taking the fuel injector lines off. Put that on there. 3/8 ratchet. It's a 19 millimeter. I do have a set of these that come in different sizes. There's another one laying here. It's a 22 millimeter. I think those are the only two I brought up. But it makes cracking injector lines a lot easier. The other thing that I've been using are these long pliers with the ring on the end of it. And you got to get way down in there to get these little hoses off down in here. It makes it a whole lot easier. So I'm going to end this right here for today. Go inside, get cleaned up, take it easy for the evening, rest up, get ready to come back out here and do this all again tomorrow. See you guys tomorrow. All right, we're back. It's the next day. We'll see what we can get accomplished today. Today, I got to get the last injector in, and then I'm going to run the return lines, which go on each one of these little deals here. I don't know if you can see it in the video. Plugs back into here. Be a line that goes from this one to this one, from this one over here to this one to that one, and every one of them's got these stupid little clamps on the end of them. But I've got all new hoses. I'll be putting all that on. We get all those run, then I'll go back and get the main injector lines back installed, and we'll see how far we get today. Let me get started and I'll come back. These guys fly by here all the time. I don't know where they come from or where they go. I don't know if you can see them or not. Right there above my finger. A lot of times they're usually closer. They always Blackhawks, Chinooks. I don't know where they're coming from or where they're going, but they fly by here all the time. So I'll give you guys a peek. All right, here we are. We got all the fuel injectors back in, all the injector lines hooked up, all the return lines hooked up. I know there's some guys on YouTube that say when you do this, you need to pull this off and pull all the intake off and then loosen all the lines on the injector pump and all that. If you guys take this mount here off, there's another one that goes right here. Same on the other side, same on the other side. there's more than enough flexibility in these lines to just move them out of the way, pull your stuff out, and when you go to put them back in, they fall right back into place. I didn't have to bend anything, I didn't have to stretch anything, get rough with anything. So I just want to let you guys know that it is possible to do that. Now that I've got all that back in, I got to get this cleaned up, get this cleaned up, get the turbo cleaned up so we can get the turbo back on it. And I don't know, took me about an hour and a half to get all that done. So I'm gonna get the turbo cleaned up, get this cleaned up. We'll see how much time we have left for today. Be back. Well, unfortunately, I've gone as far as I can go today. I've got all the mating surfaces cleaned up for the turbo. Same over here. Some say there's no gasket in here, some say there are gaskets in here. I did check online. Napa does have a gasket kit, so I'm going to go ahead and get it. I need to get one nut for the turbo for the mounts here, but unfortunately the gasket kit won't be here till tomorrow, so I will run to town tomorrow and get a gasket kit, and then I will come back and we'll put the turbo on. So, oh, I know one other thing I was wanting to talk about. When I clean these gasket surfaces, I buy these. They're like a little Brillo pad type thing. And I put them in my multi-speed Dremel. It's cordless, small enough to get in different areas that you need to get it. Works pretty good. So that's what I use to clean up my gasket surfaces. Those little pads don't damage the metal. So tomorrow I'll get the gasket set and we'll put the turbo on. Alright, been a couple days. We're back. Been to Napa, got some gaskets. We got the turbo back on. Oil line's back on, everything's back on, everything's been put back together. All the injectors are in, everything's hooked up. But we're not there yet. When I took this inner fender out, back down in here, there was a grounding strap that went from here up to here that basically just turned to dust when I touched it. So I'm going to clean that ground up. Got a new grounding strap. We'll get that dude put back on. And then we'll see about getting some power to her and see if this thing will start and see what happens from there. So hang on. Alright, we got the grounding strap on. I've got the batteries hooked back up. Everything's been put back together except for the inner fender. I'm going to leave it off for right now just to make sure I don't have any fuel leaks. So let's see if this old girl start up. I'll put you guys right here so you can watch. If you see anything, let me know. Alright, now after all that, I don't have any glow plugs. So I'll have to go check on that and see what's going on. Out here working on the truck. Going for a fly today. They fly by here pretty regularly. I don't know where they go, where they come from. All right, everybody. I don't know what to do. I'm at a loss. For some strange reason, well, let me tell you this. I've replaced the ground wires back there, cleaned all the terminals, cleaned all the terminals up here on the firewall, cleaned all the contacts, cleaned the ground there, cleaned the other ground there, cleaned all the grounds back there, 2 new batteries, got everything all connected. And when you turn the key on, check out that service engine scene light right here. And we replaced the ECM over there, and nothing seems to fix it. So I don't know what's going on. So this weekend, Bob's gonna come get it, take it down to his shop where he's better equipped, and see if he can figure it out, because I sure can't. If anybody has any ideas, this movie will probably come out before Bob comes and gets it. Or video, it's not a movie. If anybody's got any ideas as to what it might be, I'm all ears. So I'm going to end this video right here. We'll probably pick it up again with Bob coming to pick this truck up and see where we go from there. I'm not giving up on the truck, but it sure is making it rough. So hit that like button, give us a thumbs up if you like this, help the channel out, and we'll be seeing you on the next one.